Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Harakakadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders, great most on the rule well, and Shalom to the brothers doing my concerning truth. Um, yeah. Got this article on Vice talking about, uh, as they're called UFOs, IFOs, UAPs, basically talking about what the chariots, the chariots of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Okay, no. And Well, I'll read it. It says some Vice. It says Congress to hold first open hearing about UFOs in 50 years. Yeah, so it's become a prominent topic. It's been a prominent topic for a minute still, because yeah, it's been a prominent topic for a minute still, because you had going back, which I'll mention an article about the Pentagon putting out the report, and it's something you've had build up steam, because it's like talking about the chariots. It goes back to like the 60s, way back. Like from then it's been spoken about, and no one's like, Esau ain't really been trying to fuck with it for forever. Like he really ain't been trying to fuck with it for long. But now what? It's a level of prominence where it's not really able to just kind of be kept in the dark anymore. As such, what they're pushing a narrative. Same thing they've been doing with Hollywood, where they're essentially preparing, the minds of the people to be against, Yahushua when he makes his return with the chariots, because that's what it's going to be. It says 2 Pentagon officials will be testifying at a hearing about UFOs next week. A House subcommittee will hold a hearing next week about UFOs, the first open congressional hearing about UFOs in more than 50 years. Yes, 50 years. So that's what, 70s? Because what, 20s? Yeah, it would have been 70s. So that's how long these things have been a topic. And the thing is now as well is to try and say, and that's something they said in the reports. It's like, they said it's not Russian, it's not Chinese, it's not foreign nations like technology. Is something that who really has access to it right now, on the planet Earth. Because why it's something that's beyond the carnal realms of what these heathen can build, the way they can maneuver, as far as with their flying machine, their rockets. They can go into the stratosphere and whatnot with with the airplanes able to move through the air and whatnot. But they don't move in the same means as like chariots, where chariots can whiz all around, any which way, and yeah. It says this Congress hasn't held a public hearing about an unidentified aerial phenomena (UAPs) in over 50 years. Andre Carson, a Democrat from Indiana, tweeted Tuesday morning, "That will change next week when I lead a hearing at House Intel on this topic and the national security risk it poses." Yeah, and they're saying national security risk. Because why? Because that's Yahushua, that's the angels, that's what's within the church, the mystery. This is a mystery to to those in the world. But these are things that what do you call that? Pose a threat. These are things that are a danger to to the West, to America and whatnot. Because go into that. Hearing will be held Tuesday, May 17th, in front of subcommittee. Let me read this still. So, Wisdom of Solomon 5:1. It says, "Then shall a righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him, and made no account of his labors." Yeah, and that's something that is occurring. That's why brothers are out on the street corners. Brothers are out doing videos, pushing this word, condemning those what do you call it? These carnal entities. These elites. These guys that are in power. These guys that hold the reins of power currently. They have the rule. And they have the means to push out the vibration of whatever they desire. But what? We're still out there, what? Condemning Esau to his face, condemning these elites to their face, telling them, hey, what the words that have been put in our mouth by Shem Shai, this place is coming to an end. This place is over. Esau's going to have to pay for the crimes he's committed. And what? And Yahushua is making his return. Israel's going to be put in that position of power, have dominance over the earth, man. So-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. So that says, what? When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, and they shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they looked for. Yeah. So as far as with this salvation, it's what is far beyond what they're looking for. They're not thinking that what do you call it? It's gonna be some blacks. It's gonna be some Hispanics. They're thinking it's those people that are currently in the land now, referring to themselves as the chosen people, which they don't fulfill no prophecies. And then what as well? They're referring to themselves as the righteous currently. But that's the opposite of who they are, man. And that's why it's like, when they receive their just desert, what they've reaped, they sow, which ain't gonna be salvation. They're gonna be terrified, because what? The chariots are gonna be there. Yahushua is gonna be in the mix. It's gonna get peak. It's gonna be emotional. There's a bit more. The hearing will be held Tuesday, May 17th, in front of a subcommittee of the House Intelligence Committee, which is chaired by California Rep. Adam Schiff. Schiff told New York Times that the committee is holding a series to explore one of the great mysteries of our time and to break the cycle of excessive secrecy and speculation with truth and transparency. Yeah, that's the thing, is the truth. That'll bug people out, man. People get all kinds of messed up. They ain't they ain't looking to deal with the truth. They're really just thinking of what do you call it? Something that's convenient. That they want it to have some form of hope for themselves. But there's no guarantee. So this is what after the New York Times published an article about the existence of a Pentagon UFO project called the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program in 2017, government disclosures about UFOs have come repeatedly. Last year, the Pentagon released a report about its UFO program that detailed 143 sightings of aerial objects that could not be explained between the years of 2004 and 2021. That report was considered to be pretty underwhelming because much of the information had been disclosed, and a lot of the reports simply sought additional funding for the Pentagon, but a classified version of the report was obtained later this year by government transparency organization the Black Vault, which appears to have far more interesting details about the potential nature of UFOs. The thing is as far as is what Esau's keeping is the essentially the having the the Chariots, viewed as a foe and opposition. Cause why? Cause that's what Esau needs, man. He needs in the minds of the people, them to be thinking that what? Oh, these these fighting, or they're thinking these these black angels in these chariots. You can't just can't have anyone looking up there, especially Jake. They don't want Jake in the mindset where they're looking at them like it's salvation for them, even though that's exactly what it is. Zechariah 5:1, it says, "Then I turned and lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a flying roll. And he said unto me, What seest thou? And I answered, I see a flying roll. The length thereof is 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof 10 cubits. And then he said unto me, This is a curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth. For everyone that stealeth shall be cut off as on this side according to it, and everyone that sweareth shall be cut off as on that side according to it." Yeah, it's the curse. That's why the chariots, their sightings, Esau trying to solve it. The whole spirit that gets on him, interacting with, what he calls UAPs, the chariots, is what he gets jacked up, man. He's getting messed up in the spirit. Because why? These things are a curse onto him. They're witness that, like, Esau's thinking he's got dominance. He's got the fullness of the earth. He's got everything under his, under his fist, under his control. But what? You got the chariots where they're carrying out the duties they got, and Esau's not able to have any form of conflict. And what is gonna happen in the end is what the sons of men, they're gonna contend with Yahushua and the chariots when they come back. Jesus. So 2 Esdras 13:3, and it says, "I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him. And whenever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice, like as fire faileth when it feeleth the fire." He said that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. Because why? When Yahushua makes his return, it's not going to be peaceably. It's not going to be chill. It's not going to be calm. It's going to be bringing abject terror, man, abject fear onto these people. Because why? It's essentially everything that the chariots, everything Yahushua represents, is in complete and total opposition to this current rulership, to this current power system. That's why you're getting messed up, man. You be bugging out. Because why? Because this, no! They said it was far beyond anything they sought for. They're thinking of, tulips, some white boy and whatnot, coming to save them. But what's the reality? It says, "And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea." See all these nations coming together to what? Contend with Yahushua. And it says, But I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain, and flew up upon it. That I would have seen a regional place where out the hill was graven, and I could not. Yeah, sort of chariot. Chariot was on such a scale and scope. He was looking for. He was like, was the edge, looking for the edge, but the edge didn't exist. Thing was colossally legendary in size. Just like when you watch what the hell is it called? Oh, Independence Day, and then you have like the main ship, and then you had the smaller ones kind of break off. And that main ship was fucking colossal. It says, and after this I beheld, and lo, all they that which were gathered together to subdue him was sore afraid, and yet durst fight. Fucking hell. And yet durst fight. Yeah, all these men are gonna realize, it's a legendary failure. Unfortunately, they wanted the army benefits. They wanted to get a free degree or something. So their ass was out there, in war, being prepared for combat. They're gonna realize, yo, this is done. This is toast. No. Why? And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor instrument of war, but only a sword that he sent out of his mouth, as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests. And they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burned them up every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude, nothing was to be perceived, only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. And these are the things that, Esau knows, which is why when them chariots are around, making themselves known, maneuvering in places that were meant to be under Esau's sphere of influence, that fear returns. Because why? All these things mixing up. What's Esau's technique? Where's his method, man? All he can think is dashing nukes. The nukes are gonna be working against him. Let me finish on this. Because it's why people are gonna be all messed up when the chariots do come. Because why? Isaiah 31:1, woe to them that go down to Egypt for help, and stay on horses, and trust in chariots, because they are many, and in horsemen, because they are very strong. But they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek the Lord Yahweh. Yeah. Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help. They're basically, all that faith in Esau and his chariots. It's going to be found what? Esau's lacking something core and fundamental. Yet he is also wise. No, yet he also is wise, and will bring evil, and will not call back his words, but will arise against the house of the evildoers, and against the help of them that work iniquity. Now the Egyptians are men, are not the Most High, and their horses flesh and not spirit. When the Lord Yahweh shall stretch out his hand, both he that helpeth shall fall, and he that is hoping shall fall down, and they all shall fall together. Yeah. Esau's shit, this is all carnal. It's only through carnal means. And that's the main thing that's missing, is what? Carnality ain't gonna get you the W, man. And that's what? Those curses being seen, those chariots, messes these guys up, man. But yeah, I'll leave you there. Shalom. Yabba Shem Yashab, Shem Shalom.